So I realize everyone's coming in just after lunch, so I still want to start with the question. How many tools do you think you have? Sales and tools, marketing tools. Anyone with more than 5? More than 5 tools? Okay, most people in the room. More than 10 tools? 12 tools? 15? So I know most of you are lying. When I looked at the data, the average SaaS stock company has at least 12 tools, and these are just in the page, excluding your CRM, excluding different databases. So I know you're all lying, and lying is a theme of this talk. So I'm going to go fast. I'm going to make you think. The kinds of talks I like are the ones which are going to leave you with your mind buzzing. I'm going to leave you the slides at the end, so if you want to take notes as you go along, that's fine, but I will give you the slides at the end as well. So let's get going. Back in 1999, Salesforce launched. We've had customer data for a while. We've had MailChimp since 2001, HubSpot since 2005. So what's really new about this? It's SaaS stock. It's supposed to be the latest and greatest stuff. What's changing? Well, I mentioned lies. See, there are 3 lies people are telling themselves. Our data is getting broken apart, and this is underpinned by the way we are lying to ourselves. So the first lie, we're customer-centric. Of course, every founder, every investor, every team wants to be customer-centric, and we all talk about it, but who has that view over the whole customer journey? Who really knows the whole customer from start to finish, from first website visit through their years of subscription? So when you started, you probably knew every customer. You're sort of like a coffee shop owner or a bar owner, you know everyone. But as you scale, as you go to market, your teams just aren't organized this way. When you hire, you hire specialists. You hire marketing, you hire sales, you hire customer success. But each of these people sees only part of that customer journey. And then each of these teams builds a support function just to serve themselves. They build their own little kingdom. And as they build this kingdom, they only look to serve themselves, their own objectives. They lasso together the data and tools they need. They lose that bigger picture. They're no longer that coffee shop. They're no longer that small person. It's not the story you had when you were a founder. And it's what we've heard people call cowboys. And I realize it's a bit sexist. Everyone can lasso data together. Everyone can do this. But what it means is you are team-centric. You are not customer-centric. And this is my favorite expression which I've heard about this. You are cowboys. It's in the Wild West. There is no control. There is no governance. There's no strategy. It's chaos. So how do you realign these siloed, misaligned teams? So what we're seeing amongst various B2B SaaS startups is they're moving in the direction of revenue operations. So sales and marketing operations combining into one, a complete view over the lead management and lead lifecycle. But it still leaves customer success out the loop. How can you optimize for all the good stuff like lifetime value if success is out the picture? So what we've seen the best teams do is try and build that whole view of the customer lifecycle, to be customer-centric, to have that centralized team powering all the go-to-market teams. So Thomas Tungers at Redpoint has talked about this a lot. Instead of individual teams optimizing for individual metrics, talking about the whole team optimizing the whole startup metrics. And this is the important bit, optimizing for the entirety of the customer journey from start to finish. And it's the job of customer operations to build that customer centricity in your organization, to make sure all the data is in every team and in every tool. So it brings me to the second lie. We have a working marketing stack. Teams feel when you shop around here and you buy software that it's deliberately chosen, it's carefully implemented, it's functioning well, it's providing value. You have abundant choice. This place is like a pharmacy. You've got a pill for whatever ill you want. But what we're seeing in the past 5, 6 years is a massive growth in the number of pills, a massive growth in the number of these tools, from 150 to over 5,000. So we live in the age of the MarTech 5000. So Scott Brinker, who runs the Chief MarTech blog, unveiled this graphic in May. How does it make you feel? So I shared this on LinkedIn, and others were kind of similarly alarmed. It's no wonder actionable and valuable data has become such a high concern for marketers. How can you know what to act on when you're drowning in this mess? And then my personal favorite, that picture makes my head hurt. So as marketers, we're hoarding tools, and we're not using them together. It's just another pill, it's another pill, and we make ourselves sick with all this different stuff and all this different data spread around. You end up with things like overlapping live chat and syncing and unsyncing email subscribes from 5 different email tools, scattered leads management. And Scott Brinker describes it as data being fuel and an engine. But who really knows how to build an engine? It sort of reminds me of those long tail boats in Thailand where it's sort of just batched together, but it looks like it can break any time. And by the time we realize there's a problem, we're reaching for the duct tape to build that engine together. But your crazy spreadsheets, your little hacks, your little scripts, just to clean and stick that data together, isn't 100% reliable. And what you end up doing is wasting a ton of time wrestling with crap data. And as you scale, you can't afford to do that because time becomes your most precious thing. You'll start throwing real money at it instead. An assortment of all-in-one tools, real engineering hours, which you've got to pull off product to spend on integrations and just getting your data in one place, and a customer data warehouse, which is never really in sync. So what you have is a Frankenstack. It's a Franken-style abomination, a haphazard combination of these different tools, this siloed data, and these frustrated teams. Teams who don't have the data and the tools they want to use, so they can't do their jobs effectively. Just imagine if your finance team acted like this, if your payroll was broken, if the investment amount you just took wasn't the right amount, or if your billing system didn't work. If your finance team acted like we do, as marketers, as sales guys, they would be fired immediately. So why are they not allowed to get away with this? So you need something to organize your tools. You need something in the middle. Instead of that mess of everyone and everything, trying to control everyone and everything else, you need that something in the middle. So what we're seeing scaling startups do is try and centralize around something, a hub and spoke model. Often this is a CRM, a customer data warehouse, or a real-time customer data platform. And what you want to get away from is this idea of a single source of truth. Every tool and team should get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Like in the words of Oprah, you get the truth, you all get the truth. This shouldn't be debatable. There shouldn't be just one place which gets everything, and then everything else is siloed away. So Jerry Chen at Greylock has talked about this idea of a system of intelligence. Instead of lots of individual pieces trying to control logic and trying to control how things work, you need to think of that system altogether. And for us, as marketers with dozens of different tools, this is the key point, that we can cover multiple data sets all at once with a system of intelligence. So we've discussed cross-functional customer operations teams and how they can break silos and draw alignment. We talked about a centralized system of intelligence to sync tools together. But what about the data itself? Your data is ready to use, right? Well, when you peel back the layers, it's pretty easy for us to find that your data is actually a complete mess. You have duplicate contacts everywhere. Your form submissions are incomplete and messy. Your analytics tracking is often broken. Someone keeps dumping data into your CRM and you don't know who it is. And then someone sets everything up perfectly and then leaves for another startup. Like your data is really messed up. And no one tool, even if it was perfect, can digest all this data. If your data was perfectly clean, your analytics data doesn't fit in your CRM right away, or into your database, or your email tools, your ad networks. They all have different ways of storing and using data. So you have to compensate for each of these tools' inadequacies. And on top of that, we need to be using data more effectively. Personalization is a data problem, and personalization is really how we can cut through the noise as marketers and sales guys. But you need to have that data, that usable data, to be more personal. I have a 30-minute presentation on exactly this, and it all boils down to data. And on top of that, we're using more data than ever, and this just keeps piling up. We cannot leave this problem to rest. We have more tools, we have more accounts, more complexity, more duct tape. This mess is just getting more unusable. So how's the engine Scott Brinker's talking about doing? You're just feeding this mess into an engine. You don't have fuel, you have data puke. Your system of tools cannot digest all this messy data. And without that immediately useful data, none of your tools or teams can piece together that full picture of every customer. You cannot be customer-centric. So I'm not the first person to talk about data puke. Avinash, so the very, very famous analytics guy, talks about data puke versus insights in comparing web reporting and web analysis. One is a chart, one is a useful insight. But he's talking about insights as an analytics point of view. And if we want to scale, if we want to automate, if we want to personalize, we have to build rules, processes, and actions with our data. So how do we make that data actionable? So again, we want to centralize our data into one place. Like most companies are talking to, it's a CRM, it's a customer data warehouse, or a customer data platform. Then we need to join up the dots for each person. So whether it's an email address or a different ID in different tools, to pull that together into one master profile. So for whoever you are, whoever you want to talk to, I have everything about you according to every tool ever. But then your data isn't necessarily immediately useful. It needs processing. It needs turning into something else first. So you need to compute new data before syncing it out to all your other tools, to cleanse it, to enrich it, to segment, score, transform, all computations and actions which you need to do before it's useful in your own tool. And now you can feed the beast. Now you can sync all that ready-to-use data to all your tools. Immediately actionable, useful, clean, digestible data in all your tools. And once you have all that system together, you can start to do some really cool stuff. We have custom operations. That's bringing customer centricity across your organization. You have a system of intelligence to integrate all your tools together. And you have clean, centralized, ready-to-use customer data. So what can we do with it? The problem with everything we talk about is there's a lot of moving parts. It's not just about aligning sales and marketing. It's not about integrating Salesforce and Intercom. It's about that whole system of tools, teams, and data. So I want to show you how some of this can work together. And the phrase which is emerging, that we're seeing, people call this orchestration. So I want to show you a simple model, a simple way of thinking about how you can use this data together. And something that you can take away and use and come up with your own orchestrations. So if you follow this, you'll get it. Orchestration is 4 core actions. You send a message, whether it's an email, an ad, sending a web page, sending a phone call, a meeting with a sales rep, whatever it is, it's a message. You can track the reaction to that message, an email open, an ad clicked, a web page viewed, a meeting held. And then we can record that data via an integration into a profile of some sort that sits in our CRM, our marketing automation, our analytics, our backend, wherever. And we can use that data, again via integrations, to trigger interesting actions like triggering drip emails, syncing qualified leads to your CRM, enrolling in ad audiences, scheduling meetings, etc. And with that, we can send more messages, email, ad, whatever. What you notice is this forms a closed loop. This means we can take data, we can react to it in real time, if we make this fast enough. But like we said, not all data is ready to use. We have data puke. We can't sync that data as it is. It's in the wrong format, it's missing something, it needs some kind of processing. So we need computation. We need to be able to cleanse it, enrich it, segment, score, transform. We need to compute. And then we can sync all that clean, ready-to-use, actionable data back into those profiles and use them everywhere. Now we have this clean data across all our tools. Our entire system comes alive. So we can use this model, this figure of 8, this closed loop, to explain orchestration. So I want to show you 3 today in the time I've got left. 1, personalized onboarding. This is familiar to most of you. We want to send better messages by job title, by user actions. We can get the job title maybe through the form. If not, maybe we can send that to a data enrichment provider. Write that back into the profile. User actions. This will sit in your analytics tool or your backend database. We can write it back into our profile. We can compute a segment. We can go around that loop. And then we can sync that segment up to our email tools, our live chat, wherever we want to message people. And then we can trigger and send messages to each segment. What's cool is now we can react to that system because we have that analytics tracking, and we can update those personalized campaigns. We can send highly relevant messages. So if you follow that, let's move on to something more advanced. Product qualified leads. A lot of companies here have a free trial sales model. And what's that's great for getting signups, it leaves a fire hose of often junk leads for sales to dip through. Enter product qualified leads. So PQL-based outreach grew account value 30% at DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean have 500,000 customer accounts. But you don't have to be the scale of DigitalOcean to get the same benefit. Working with AppQs, we cut that 30% of their trial leads, their junk leads, from their sales pipeline, whilst giving sales the insights on who to talk to and why they should talk to them, what actions they had taken. So going back to the orchestration model, can we say something better than, let's have a call? So we're using product usage data to inform sales who is getting value from our analytics tools, from our product database. But these streams of product usage data are not easy to sync to a CRM. And even if we could, it would be totally overwhelming for a sales rep. Every single action for every single person on every single account, it's just noise. And so what we want to do is transform those streams of user actions into CRM-friendly, rep-friendly insights. Even something basic like trial limits modal viewed, we can then pass that into a CRM instead. And maybe you want to do some traditional lead qualification, enrich that with some other data, and pass that back into a profile. But importantly, we have this real-time segment of product qualified leads we can sync back out to your CRM and keep this updated. New PQLs added, fading PQLs removed. And then we can have reps engage each user based on the actions they've just taken. And we can continue to react to that. So automated insights for reps, proactively sending messages to target accounts with personalized user actions. So the final recipe is very interesting. It's very powerful for building pipeline in B2B. Some call it the reveal loop, others call it 10x account-based marketing. And it works by identifying and engaging best fit accounts at scale. So we work with a couple of customers that help implement this. And one of our best results was with our partner segment, sat over there, where they added $10,000 per day in net new revenue, and it was their third highest source of sales ops within 3 weeks. And that was through one channel, just getting started. So most people don't leave their email. Even if they visit a blog, they visit pricing page, they're very engaged with your website, but they don't give you their damn email address. So how can we re-engage them? We know they visited the website, and you've already got retargeting ads. But can we say something more engaging than just an ad? So using reverse IP lookup, we can identify anonymous web traffic. We can identify the account behind it. But we don't want to engage every account that visited. They might be an existing customer. They might be an existing sales op, a partner, a competitor, Googlebot. So we need to match this up against an existing CRM records in our backend database to see if they are already matched. And then we want to qualify the accounts that are eligible using your regular sales qualification criteria. And then within that, we want to prospect for anyone in that account which matches a job role, the seniority, has contact details available that we can prospect for. So now we can create a real-time segment of revealed prospects, people from the company that have just visited your site, which are a fit for you, which are eligible for outreach, the account is qualified, and you know you're talking to the target job role. We can now sync all these people to all our engagement tools, your sales CRM, your sales email cadences, your website audiences, your ad audiences, your live chat. So now you can re-engage best fit accounts across multiple channels. So retargeting ads before was really just one person and one channel. The reveal loop, we can target many people and many channels. And now what's cool is you can react to the entire account's engagement. You can look at any ad clicked, any website visit, any email open. You can react to this all and update in real time. So why not get you thinking of your own recipes? Really, when you see these parts coming together, they're like Lego blocks, and you just need to figure out how to stack them all together. So think how you can use and reuse all these different pieces, whether it's reverse IP lookup or product qualified leads, the different elements within that and how they break down. You can do this, but you just have to be a bit creative. You can be creative with copy, you've been creative with design, now you need to be creative with data. So what works for a startup like yours? I've got a bit of time whilst I'm in Dublin meeting different startups one-on-one, but you can book a time to talk here, but if you don't get a chance to talk, here are the 3 principles to leave with. Where is your data? Your CRM, your backend database, your analytics, wherever. What do you need to do to transform that data into a form that's useful? And then where can you engage your leads and customers? Your emails, your live chat, your ads, etc. So I mentioned I'd leave the slides. So if you go to hull.io/git/sasdoc, you'll be able to find the slides there, you'll be able to find all the resources, and you'll be able to book a meeting there. And that is me. Thank you.